The feds just picked up Pdiddy and Snoop Dogg after Keefe has agreed to testify against them. This whole thing, man, it blows the case out of the water because this is what 50 Cent was talking about the whole time. He told Diddy to come forward and just confess to setting up Tupac. I want y'all to know that that $1 million that P. Diddy sent, this is what got him caught up. He should have never told Keefe what he was going to do with all that. He should have had somebody else. This is the reason why people don't set people up, man. The karma came back to get him, and they finally getting the justice for Tupac. If you rocking with Tupac and support Tupac, put the 222s in the comment section and put justice for Tupac, because at the end of the day, y'all got to realize this whole entire thing, man. A lot of people knew what was going on, but they was too scared to talk about Diddy. This is why when Keefe made them testimony statements, he actually wanted to make sure that he don't go down for this, because he knows at the end of the day, he still want to be able to have a chance to get out, have parole and things like that. And the only way that they're going to allow that is if he cooperated to take down P. Diddy. This is why the feds have a 99% success rate. They trying to go after the head of the snake. They know for a fact that Keefe was the one who actually tried to plan out the hit and everything, but the order was taken from a higher up person, and that ended up being leading all back to P. Diddy, Puffy, Sean Combs, whatever you want to call him. Everything a legend for entertainment purposes, but the things that Keefe was saying, that's real true, man. And Mike Tyson knows what's up. Sugeknight remembers that night about how the witness footage showed everything that happened when the dudes pulled up and sprayed the BMW. Tupac was inside. Tupac was trying to grab something because he knows for a fact that somebody set him up. When that window came down and the two girls pulled up, started yelling and everything, it drew the attention of all the ops. Everybody that was enemies of Tupac was right there looking for him. And it was just bad timing for everything to go down. This is why a lot of people was questioning Suge Knight. He didn't know how to react in that situation, and this is what made a lot of people think that it was maybe even him setting them up. But after all that, they figured out that it was ended up being Keefe D, P. Diddy, the guys that was in the middle, man, Von Zip and everything like that. But ultimately, everybody ended up being too greedy, and everyone just kind of made it so that they told on each other. And this is why they all got caught red-handed. When they started going out, interviews, making books and everything like that, the investigators just looked at it like, wow, they giving all the info away that they wouldn't give to us. And this is what really made them look into it and start the investigation all over again. Keefe was the one who came with the actual reports and the statements. He gave the full story to Vlad TV. Vlad TV had the story, TMZ had the footage, and they corroborated with Suge Knight and the witnesses to make sure all accounts was taken from. And when you really look at it from the side of the feds, they coming through like, okay, they got to get the guy who hit up Tupac, because this is what everybody's been waiting for. This is what's going to make them famous, and this is what's going to actually get them a lot of money, raises, promotions, and everything like that. People look back at this, and all the Tupac fans look back and say Tupac wasn't really trying to beef with them. He was trying to protect his friend from that chain snatching. And when they ran up on Orlando Anderson inside that MGM casino, they stomped him out in retaliation from that chain snatching incident. But the one thing is that they didn't know was that P. Diddy already sent the money, so that way when Tupac ran into the dudes that actually, it just so happened to be that those were the dudes that was going to actually take the hit out on Tupac. And so this was just the craziest situation ever, because how did everybody end up in one night being all at the same place and this whole thing get carried out? This is how you know they planned to set up Tupac, man, in advance. Diddy wouldn't send that $1 million if he didn't know that there was already a time and place set up where everything was going to go down at. That's why when you really pay attention and watch closely and look at everything that happened, this is why they're not releasing the footage. The footage is right there on that intersection. They need to record and release that footage, because we know for a fact that the witnesses is too scared to come out. Some of the witnesses, they were old back then, and they're not around to actually tell what happened. Back then, they thought either Suge Knight, Keefe or P. Diddy was going to send the goons after him and make sure that they ended up coming up missing when the trial happened. But the trial never happened, and Keefe never kept his mouth closed. And this is why everything ended up into what it is today. And now all of us is looking at it like, wow, they finally going to solve this entire Tupac case. The feds is looking at Snoop Dogg as another person where people was thinking that Snoop Dogg might have even got Tupac lined up, just due to the fact that they actually had a whole lot of history together. When you look at it, them being on the same team and everything, people from their same team will still hate on you and all that. And if you took their shine anything like that. There's been a lot of stories and been a lot of actual details where people think that Snoop Dogg has something to do with this, and that P. Diddy and Snoop Dogg could have been talking the whole entire time. Even Suge Knight and Snoop Dogg could have been talking before. But one thing is for sure is that Suge Knight, he's not going to be telling exactly what went down, because out of all the people, he's the only one that's actually been given mixed up stories and everything like that. He's not going to actually say anything because he knows for a fact he was inside that car. He was the actual main witness, other than the two girls in that Chrysler and the people that was standing on the sidewalk. But the camera footage got everything, and that's why they need to release the Tupac footage so we could see exactly whose hand it is that stuck out that white Cadillac. Keefe D, he said out of his own mouth that he actually rented that Cadillac. They painted it and cleaned it after the getaway. He explained everything that they did in detail on how they pulled up on Tupac, hit him up, and then got rid of the getaway car. How did they lose the feds in that car chase? How did they get out of town enough and actually make it back to the car rental place? Plus the fact that it was never reported that that car was involved in the incident. So when they went to return that rental car, nobody thought anything of it. How did they get away with so much in so little time and be on the run for so long? And all the other people that's in the car ended up mysteriously, somehow, some way, through all the years, they ended up passing away, getting sent up. However it was, the last surviving person that actually was there that's a suspect for Tupac is Keefe D. And this is why he's the guy that ended up talking. He's the guy that he had to deal with the feds. He got caught for something else and voluntarily gave up information on who hit up Tupac. And because he was right there, he actually is the main suspect. And when you look at it, he's the guy that was the leader of all the people that was in that car. So when he said his stories about how he handed the strap to Orlando or to the back seat, whoever it is that stuck that arm out the window, he was the shot caller. He told them to pull that. He told them to actually do it and everything. He said, I'm not going to be the one to do it, but you are, because he overrides them. He manages them and everything. This is why the guys in the streets, they never gonna be the one to do it themselves. They always gonna try to get the younger ones or the little ones to do it. And that's why a lot of people think that it's nothing but getting set up. You just trapping yourself. This is why you should stay out the streets, because if you really look at Keefe D, and if Orlando was still alive to this day, Keefe D would have just straight up boldly snitched on Orlando, his own nephew, and got him locked up in jail forever, to do 100 years. And this is why even your OGs will tell on you. This is why you can't trust nobody. It's better to just start your own thing and make it a business or something to go get some money for your generational wealth. Because at the end of the day, man, no one's gonna look out for you when they all on that hot seat. When the feds come sweeping through their city and they snatch people up like Keefe D, they snatch people up like all the Pdiddy, Snoop Dogg, and everything like that. Man, all that loyalty gets thrown out the window. All that trust, all that good times and everything, it gets crumbling down, because they're going to do what they want for themselves and make sure that they straight, instead of actually doing what they promised and everything like that. And this is why they should have never been hanging around those type of dudes in the first place, because all they did was involve them into something that was just going to come back and risk their freedom. None of that was all worth it, man. And Tupac didn't deserve that. If you actually rocking with Tupac and support him, put 222s in the comment section, because we need the justice for Tupac. Is coming soon. We got to make sure they do everything right. And the fact that all of this stuff, all of the hidden information through all the years, it should have came out right away, man. A lot of people, like I said, they knew what was going on. Mike Tyson knew what was up. 50 Cent knew the truth. He knew what P. Diddy did. He knew about the conversations that Gene Deal overheard from P. Diddy talking to Von Zip, talking to Keefe D, talking about setting up Biggie, talking about setting up Pac. It was all out there, man. Gene Deal, the bodyguard, he'd been talking the whole time. He's been saying what was really going on behind closed doors. And Mike Tyson, he didn't want to risk anything like that. He didn't want to send no threats to nobody. So at the end of the day, when Keefe D called him out on that Vlad TV interview, Mike Tyson would have pretty much made it to where Keefe D wouldn't have said nothing again after that if they would have actually met in an alley somewhere. And this is what they was talking about. This is why Mike Tyson, he knows who set up Tupac, and he knows who the shooter was, and he has his own plans on what he was going to be doing. He might come up and take the stand, because after everything, the whole Tupac situation went down because they went to the Mike Tyson fight. This is where it all started. The first altercation was the chain snatching at the Mike Tyson fight, followed by Tupac actually stomping out Orlando, and everybody's sitting there to watch. Keefe D sat there and watched Orlando get stomped out. He tried to act like he was in the other room, but he seen Orlando get up off the ground and come up to him and say, Tupac just stomped me out. But Keefe D knew in the back of his head he was going to let that situation play out. He didn't want to break up the fight because he knew that if he let it play on, he could easily cash out on that $1 million hit that Pdiddy already sent. He had the pager ready to go to actually beat Von Zip to tell him the plan was in motion and to give the green light. And at the end of the day, man, they're going to get the justice for Tupac. So continue to tune in for all the Tupac news and put the 222s for Tupac.